Hello, this is Nick Kapp, and this is your Skyline College Microbial Laboratory Minute. Today we're going to be looking at laboratory number 11, looking at the exoenzymes and the procedures that you're going to need to use for that. And then laboratory number 12, which is looking at carbohydrate metabolism, how we look at that and how we do our inoculations. Again, in all these things, I'm just kind of showing you and reminding you a little bit about the techniques that you should look at. So again, with the exoenzymes, what you're doing is you're looking at basically enzymes, usually degradative enzymes, that are secreted on the outside of the bacterial cell. And so you can have some substances in the media that this will react with. And so we can see that in a number of different ways. And so I have a culture of Bacillus subtilis here. Hey, Gary. Gary's really good at making our cultures, and this is a little bit of Bacillus subtilis, and you notice it has the yellow top on it. And so again, a lot of your cultures keep track of where the tops are and kind of what they do. Oh, my flame is gone. All right, so we'll do that. Got the flame going. All right, so sorry about that. So I have my culture of bacteria. So some of the things that I'm going to do with this culture of the bacteria is I'm actually going to use, this is actually gelatin. So if you look at it, see the gelatin is solid. And that's due to the matrix of those protein cells, sorry, not the protein cells, the protein molecules that are in there that make the gelatin, that what makes it so delicious. And what you're going to do with the gelatin is you're basically, it's in a format that we call a deep. What you're going to do is to take your culture from a tube. So I'm going to sterilize this. It's maybe not optimum. You can hear a little bit of it. And then I will go through and get my culture, try not to touch the sides. I try and make sure that I get a little bit of culture. I always look on my loop and see that I have a little bit on there. And I'm gonna go ahead and put this back. I didn't flame it, but that's okay. And then I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go on my culture, and I'm just basically gonna do a little bit of a stab. I'm a little shaky today. And just go down and up. And so I made the stab. And if you look at it, you may take a picture, just hold it like this, and you see that it is solid, okay? We're gonna come back and we're gonna see what happens. And if the microorganisms will grow and produce some proteases that will break down the protein, we should be able to see that results. I'm gonna sterilize my loop again. We sterilize it kind of right after we do any of our activities, and I get it all kind of red hot. I did not optimize this particular flame, all right? The next thing that we're going to do is actually, this is what we call a starch plate, and the white color here is due to the starch that's inside the media. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, get my inoculum. It's on the plate. It's not on the plate, it's on the loop. Flame it, put it back. And then what I would do is, I wouldn't necessarily have this, I'm just going to kind of make my inoculation. Again, you can almost do a lazy S on there, but when I have a plate, I always streak out a plate for single colonies. Again, that will tell you if you have any contamination, and that will also tell you what the activity of an individual colony would do. And so what I would do is after my would streak, I would, again, do that streak, and I would do the quadrant streak in order to get single colonies on there. And so I would ask you, again, if we have the plate, if we go to the expense of producing a plate, you would always kind of streak it out for single colonies, okay? And then we'll take a look at that. So we're going from liquid culture to a plate on that. The next media that we're going to be looking at is basically, we're looking at a carbohydrate media. This carbohydrate media has in it a substance called phenol red. Jannar, can you see it? It's red?
Yes.
And is there something inside of there?
Yes, there is.
Do you remember what that is? I told you what it is.
Durum?
Ah, it's a durum tube. Oh, you remembered. Okay, and so this is the format that we have. And so this media is going to have relatively few nutrients inside of it, some amino acids and stuff. But what it has on all these medias is you can switch the sugar that's in there, the carbohydrate that they use. This particular one has glucose inside of it. So if the bacteria can grow and use glucose, what's going to happen is it's going to produce some acids and possibly some gas. How can we tell that? Well, this is a selective, Jannar, quiz. Is this a selective or differential media?
I want to say selective.
Not really. It's used as a differential media, but you know it can be used selective. But I'll do that. But your answer was right. Okay, and so if this bacteria can use glucose, it will grow. It will produce an acid, so it's going to change this phenol red color to, Jannar, do you remember the color? Sorry. Yellow.
No, I don't.
Yellow, he doesn't know. And then if it produces gases, what will happen? We'll have little air bubbles inside the Durham tube. All right, so how we inoculate this, Jannar's needs a little bit more coffee this morning, is you are going to flame your loop, get it all red hot. Oh, I'm feeling for you. I really need to get that. And then we would take our culture. You hear a little bit of sizzling. I don't usually like to hear that sizzling on there. And then I'm going to go into our new Durham tube. And again, you can swish it around a little bit like this, but you really, don't click it back and forth a little bit. I did my inoculation, the tube on it. Sterilize my loop. And that's basically the technique for the carbohydrate for the phenol red. We're going to do some other tests, and I'll talk about those other tests that are in there. So again, this has been your Microbial Minute with Nick Cap. We're done.